Hey everybody, welcome back to another video about the weekly free games provided by Epic Games. This week is Dragon Age Inquisition. I put a quick video on Thursday/Friday of last week just detailing that this was a free game. This game is free until this Thursday, May 23rd. And this video will cover a quick playthrough of the multiplayer and single player aspects. So first up is multiplayer. You're able to choose between various characters. I always go with an archer, so that is the character I chose here. Since I was a new player, I just joined the proving grounds just to get a feel for the game. Basically a quick tutorial to show you exactly how multiplayer works.
It's our job to hold the line and eliminate threats with extreme prejudice.
I used a controller for this gameplay, but you can use mouse and keyboard. I mentioned in my previous video that I have played this game before. I only played single player and maybe for a few hours a long time ago when the game first came out on Xbox. I ended up getting stuck at some point. I think there was a bug or something that prevented me from moving forward in the game, and I just lost interest trying to sort it out.
Keeping at range is tricky, but much easier if your enemy can't advance quickly. Watch and learn, recruits. The joys of modern alchemy mixed with a classic delivery method. Progress, recruits.
But yeah, initial thoughts on the game. I mean, it's definitely one that I've wanted to get back into and try again, just because now I have it on PC and I can try it out here and try multiplayer, which I hadn't done before. Thought multiplayer was kind of interesting, but see later on, I didn't get to experience too much of it past this tutorial, just strictly because of matchmaking. Got paired with someone that basically carried me and the other person the entire way, which made it a little bit quicker to finish, but I think I'll try and play again at some point where I can have more control over things. So you get various skills you can use. You see that on the right. I've got 2 different skills. As you level up, you'll get abilities that you can spend points to unlock more skills and change which ones are in your skill bar there, or skill wheel, if you will. There's a few doors hanging around that you can open that lead to treasure. Sometimes treasure has enemies that will pop out in that room. And then these are the kind of types of enemies you'll face throughout. Bigger ones are a little bit harder to take down, but after some time you can beat them down. But yeah, lockpicking the room, you'll enter and there'll be a couple breakables that you can get coins from, and then you can run up to them and collect them. And then there's a chest at the end of the room that provides some more coin. And I kind of skipped to the end here, but basically once you complete it, there's like a last stand where you'll trigger that, and then you have to defeat all the enemies, and then it'll end like that. You'll get brought back to main screen. It'll tell you how you did with the match summary. XP gained, gold accumulated, time took, which was 20 minutes, which is quite long. I think I just kind of went slowly through it trying to get everything. The game that we get through Epic Games gives us a few DLC packages as well as some other aspects. So you get some free chests that you can unlock, which will give you potions or gear that you can equip to your character. And here's the ability section where you are able to choose between 2 different trees for the archer. You got Invasion and Marksman, each with varying skills and abilities. Some are passive, some are for the ability wheel. And then I went into a quick match, just did a random difficulty, which is probably why I got paired with someone that was very good at the game in a difficulty level that I'm not prepared for as a level 1 or 2. The enemies were quite tough for me to one-on-one, and it looked like he was already mid-game, but I joined Bionic Pickle here. He's very good at the game, and he was basically just wiping the floor with the enemies, running through as a dual wield.
So when we get back, does anyone...
I'm impressed.
And yeah, he's just running through enemies like they're nothing, but then I get basically destroyed by them. And later on, when someone else joins, we'll see we both get just wiped completely, and he's gonna come and revive us, which from that point on, we both were kind of just keeping our distance as archers from the enemies and having him just wipe through them to get us through this. Just trying to use this little statue here to protect myself, but it didn't go too well, and eventually finished the mission for us. And then, like I said, at the end of the game, you get to see match summary. You'll see he had like all the kills, and I get a couple of loot items here. He's got all the medals and everything, but I leveled up quite a bit from that one, probably because of the difficulty that it was at. Moving on to the single player. Single player story was quite interesting at the start. You get various races and appearances you can choose from for your character creation. Went with male, and I went with elf, but you've got human, you got elf, you got dwarf, and you've got... Wanted to do elf just because I wanted to do another archer, and those go pretty hand in hand for most cases. Yeah, you got your dual wield, you got archer, two-handed, warrior, weapon and shield, and mage. I'm not too sure if the elf class is specific to these ones, and the other characters will have different ones like human. I know when I read the dwarf, it said that he couldn't be a mage. So choosing difficulty, I just went with normal. Didn't want to make it too easy, didn't want to make it too hard. Overall, I think I would definitely come back to this game. It's definitely one I would suggest people try out. It's got an interesting play style. Probably would play single player before I would play multiplayer going forward, just to get more of the story. But going through the story, there's a bit of back and forth dialogue and story at the beginning before you actually get into playing. But moving forward, you'll be able to meet up with some other characters, and you'll learn here that the mark you got lets you close these rifts that the demons are coming from.
What did you do?
And what I like about the dialogue options is there's different options you can choose from, and some of them will dictate how the story moves as well as how characters react to what you've chosen.
I theorized the mark might be able to close the rifts that have opened in the breach's wake, and it seems I was correct.
We must get to the temple.
For example, in this part of the story, there's two different ways we can go about closing the breach, and it's left up to us to decide which route we want to take, and it tells us what the consequences are for taking each route. So we can either take the mountain path, charge with soldiers, and as I noted, they both have negatives when you choose.
Use the mountain path. Work together.
And on the left there, you'll see one of the characters slightly disapproved. That was because I didn't choose her path, and then another character approved of my choice. So yeah, the story continues. You get to play with 4 different characters, and eventually get to that breach where you're allowed to actually switch between all 4 characters. You can direct them to where you want them to go, and use your guy as the main, and battling this big demon as I'm trying to close the Fade Rift here. But there's definitely lots of possibilities for gameplay and battle mechanics because of the ability to switch between characters and set up where they can be, whether they're defending or attacking or stationed somewhere as a support or long distance. Overall, I think it leaves the game for lots of different playability because you can play different characters, different races of characters, different play styles, and you can also switch between the characters that are in your party and how they play, and it just makes it for an experience you can go back to time and time.